Hello, all. Welcome to the round table. If I can speak English, um, kind of out of practice, but we're gonna give it a shot anyway. So, Mark's pick this time around, and it was Charlemagne, father of medieval Europe. So we went all the way back to when they used swords and horses, and although they used horses in World War One, so there's
They
that.
did.
And two. They did use
Now
good
this
And
is
two, yeah.
this is history with R&R, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think we should announce that.
Now, why would we do that? The name's in the title card.
Well, I suppose. But, just want to welcome everyone to History with R&R.
I need some R&R.
I thought you just had that.
No.
Yeah.
I've been on the go since Mary landed. We've been here, there, and everywhere, and yeah, it's been interesting. I found out that Alabama does not have crosswalks. She's gonna kill me for that one.
We do. They just don't have the signs like y'all do. Just go with it, okay? Just go with it.
But anyway, before I get shot when this goes live. All right, so the documentary itself was a little bit more YouTube-ish than we normally cover, but that's okay. So we'll go around, we'll give initial thoughts, and then we'll kind of break it down a little bit more than that, and then we'll give our grade, and we'll get out of here. So Jeff, you go first.
Well, I want Mark to go first because he usually goes second. He picked this.
Okay, and then he accuses you of stealing all his good lines.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm
going to give him
throwing under the bus.
I always agree
Mark,
with Jeff. I never accuse Jeff. I agree with Jeff because that's he just picks the good aspects of it. That's all it is to it.
So I want you to have the opportunity this time.
Thank you, Jeff. I picked this one because, medieval history is fascinating to me, and also a little rundown. I picked the wrong one, so it wasn't exactly the one that I was gonna get to watch, but it wasn't that bad. But for what it was, in a briefest rundown, it went into a pretty good, not super detailed history of Charlemagne taking the throne and becoming the king of the Franks, going all the way to his time making to the Pope and becoming emperor of Europe, or what the basis of what is Europe, except for the English. I thought was pretty good. There were some pretty kind of weird points, like the music didn't really match the theme, and the switching of narrators kind of threw things off. But for what it was worth, it was good. It wasn't that bad.
Yeah. All right, Jeff, your thoughts?
Well, I didn't know a lot about this part of history, so I found it very fascinating. As far as the narrator goes, I wish they had mixed it up more.
Really?
I mean, for the first 50 minutes of this, you had one narrator, and it kind of started to drone on and on with facts and figures of where they went and who went where and dates and times and things of that sort. So it kind of started to get a little boring to me. I think it would have been better if they had divided it up between the narrators, have different narrators at different points. So I think I would have liked more variety, actually.
Good point.
But it was a good documentary.
What I was pointing out to Robert was when they switched narrator, it was the point where Charlemagne abdicated the throne to Louis.
Yes.
And that was kind of the switch off, which I see what you're saying about switching narrators. It might have made a better one. You'd come to think of it.
But I agree with you about the music and the video game scenes. They were a little wonky, but not too bad.
Yeah.
Okay, so for me, the documentary was good for what it was. The parts that I kind of went, were the animations were okay, but I think you could have found stock footage, like Mark was saying before we went live, that would have represented it a little better. But I get the hesitation, especially on this platform, to use stock footage, because even using stock footage, sometimes you see the little copyright claim thing. So I kind of get it.
Yeah.
It's a safer bet, and I totally understand it, and I get it, because I do the same thing. So I can't really say anything. The music to me was my biggest irk, because the music did not match what was being said or what was happening on screen, or even the right time period. Like the music was the most jarring out of the entire documentary.
Yeah, I agree.
With that said, the documentary was factual. They didn't go completely crazy and, you know, start spewing off that Charlemagne was this, that, and the other that he wasn't. So I'll give them props to research department. They got the points right. I would have liked maybe a little bit more detail into certain things, but then again, I understand the time constraint. They were trying to get it for an hour. There's only so much you can talk about in an hour, which is why my live streams very rarely hit an hour and stay an hour, because I talk too much.
No, not you,
You know,
Mr. Rambling Canuck.
But to me, the documentary served its purpose. So if you were getting like if you were in college and doing a refresher, you'd been studying Charlemagne in this time period, and you needed a quick refresher before the exam, this would serve as a good tool for that. It's short, it's sweet, it hits the high notes. If you can get past the music, which isn't that bad, but it is something that I go, eh. I like when the music, it's like a good movie. If you're going to go to a movie and, you know, there's a big action scene and they're playing Mozart, what? You know, it takes you out of it for a second, right?
Right.
Although depending on which Mozart, but you know, if it's something, you know, there's a lot of action and it's slow music, what the fuck is going on?
I like the funny
the
thing
music,
is how I'm sorry.
so the music for me is a big thing. It irks me. Just ask anybody that's been in the editing room with me, and I'm trying to come up with music for things. I can be a little too meticulous, but that's just me. But overall, it serves its purpose. So we'll start with Mark again. We'll go around one more time, and then we'll give our grade and get out of here. Mark, all yours, Mark.
You froze up on me. I'm sorry. What'd you say? Hello?
Yeah, it's
Hello?
all yours,
Hello?
Mark.
Go ahead.
Okay. I'm sorry. What was your point? I didn't hear your point because my.
I just said that, you know, for what it was a good.
Oh, okay. Well, going back to what you said about the music, that I think this is where a lot of things get, like movies about the medieval age, get things wrong, is they go to that same kind of music like you'd hear at a bar with, like a bar at that time with a lute or something like that, or like a lyre or something like that. And it's just, I mean, there are points where you could find, like, stock footage of fighting, you can find stock music that could settle that better. And that's, I think there were a couple points in there where they went to that type of music and it just didn't set right with me. But like you said, overall, they hit on all the facts. They actually went a little bit further than some shows I've watched about, or some documentaries I've watched about Charlemagne go. I mean, it wasn't super detailed, but you got the stuff about the Turks and the Moors was a little bit more than I've seen from other shows about going to Italy and fighting the the Lombard family and meeting the Pope. That was more than I've seen in some documentaries. I like that they hit on that and gave a little bit more detail about that, along with his family and how that broke down between the kingdoms with his children, the separate kingdoms with his children, and all that. I mean, and it went a little bit into detail about his son Louis, which they didn't have to do, which actually made the story go a little bit longer, and it made Charlemagne's presidency even better, considering how wrong some of the things wrong Louis did. And
yeah. I mean, at any point you could technically, if you took certain time frames within Charlemagne's life, you could make that an hour just on its own.
Oh yeah.
Quite easily. Just the rise to taking over Rome. You could kind of go, yeah, well. So for me, it was just spacing. All right, Jeff.
Well, to that point, I think that would have been served better if they actually had done maybe 3 or 4 30-minute, 40-minute videos going into a little more detail, maybe varying the narrator during those videos, and it would be less of on this month and year they went here and this person did that, and it would have gone more in detail and be more interesting. That's what I was hoping from that, and didn't quite get that. So I think that could have been done better that way.
Yeah, like when Doom and I first started this channel, we were doing a lot of that actual factual narration that way.
Yeah.
But we had a limit, 15 minutes. The scripts were mainly kept to about 15, 20 minutes tops, because there's only so much of that monotone, actual factual you listen to before, and this is no discredit to the person doing the video, but there's only so much of that you can listen to. I mean, go to college or any meeting at work, and once the boss gets into about 15, 20 minutes, he starts sounding like Charlie Brown. Wah, 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 wah,
Yeah,
wah,
you start tuning
wah,
out.
Wah, 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 wah. Right? I mean, some of my bosses sounded like that no matter how much they talked, but that's besides the point.
Or how little?
Yeah, a little bit. But it's just there's only especially unless you're showing, you're breaking up that narration with like swords clashing and
Right.
something to rejuvenate the brain. You're almost, once you hit that half an hour 40 minute mark, is this what time are we at? How much longer do we got?
Right. For a casual viewer, they would probably tune out after 30 minutes or so.
It becomes a lecture after about 30 minutes. And that's fine, because that's kind of the style it's done in. But for myself personally, I like those kind of narrations, like where it's just we're hitting the high notes and we're out of here, to be a little shorter, because they tend to drag. I mean, hats off to the editing team. There wasn't too many sharp cuts where you could go, ooh, that's where the cut was. And
they did that very well.
Yeah, my other thing to the music was it wasn't needed.
No, it wasn't.
That was my biggest, I think my biggest complaint about the music is it wasn't needed. There was no real reason for the music to be in that transition. It was there because it was there. It's the style. Okay, well, from here to here, we're going to put in music. Well, we're just putting in music to put in music. There's no reason behind it.
Well, when they put the music in, you notice that it was advertised. Like, this is like this might be a friend of mine's
Yeah.
band, and we're trying to push it, even though they didn't say the name of the conductor or the composer.
But again, I like, for what it was, if the person who created this video ever sees this, by no means do I say you made a bad documentary. For that, do see our series and do look back at The Submarine, because that is a bad documentary.
Yeah.
Sir, you did better than they did, and they had a professional budget.
You did far better than they did.
You're head and shoulders above those idiots, and they had a professional budget. They were on timeline, for pity's sakes. But for what it was, as a study aid, as a quick overview, it served its purpose. It did what you need. You could get a lot out of this in a short amount of time. Realistically, an hour is a short amount of time.
Yeah, especially for 60 years.
So it's a lot of information in a very short amount of time, and I felt that they really did hit the high notes. They threw in a couple of side plots, which is kind of nice. However, my issue with the narration change, it's more just jarring, because you get used to hearing that person's voice, and then all of a sudden it's a different narration. You're like, did I, like if you were in your kitchen, you weren't looking at the screen and you were just listening to it, you'd go, oh shoot, did I already skip to the next video? Right?
I thought that too.
Right? Because you've heard this one person's voice for a long period of time, and then all of a sudden it's a different voice. You'd think that the video is over.
Well, not to mention they switched from an American accent to an English accent. That was a complete throw off too. I was like,
yeah, it was a little.
What? So that kind of threw me off a little bit.
But like I said, all in all,
I can see Jeff's point of view too about switching out people.
Yeah, if it would have been more integrated, like when Doom and I used to do it, I'd do a paragraph, Doom do a paragraph, I'd do a paragraph, Doom would do a paragraph, or I would take from 1990 to 1995, he'd go 95 to 2000, yada yada yada.
Right.
Yeah.
So with that, you just got to look at it a little bit, and then maybe if you're going to do a double narrator, you part it out a little bit easier. But at the same time, like I said, it's not the worst documentary I've ever seen. That would be The Submarine, the one we started with. Damn,
thanks, Robert.
I hate that with the hate of 1,000 suns.
I didn't even make it halfway through that one. So
I hate that one with 1,000 suns.
I stuck through it, Mark.
Well,
I wish I hadn't.
The reason I hate that one so much is I I've watched most of Ballard's stuff. I like when they go looking for something and they find a shipwreck or whatever. I like that. I like that style video.
Yeah, but when you're finding what you're looking for originally is what the point of it is.
Yeah. It does help.
Yeah.
But just a little bit. I was promised a submarine, damn it.
Well, you got one, just not the one that they were looking for.
Well, yeah. But enough about that travesty. All right, so we'll go around the table. We'll give our final grades and get out of here. Mark?
Mark? Like you said, and Jeff pointed out, for what it's worth. Hello, am I here?
Yeah, you're here.
Yep, you're here.
Okay.
Go ahead.
For like you said, Robert, for study aid, that would be for Cliff Notes version of history, not bad. So I would give it an A on that, but I have to lower my grade down to a B minus because the takeaway of the music, the narration, and some of the graphic art just wasn't there. That took away from it. So I say a full grade of a B minus.
All right. And Jeff?
Well, it seems that they got their facts pretty spot on. So for that part, I'd give them an A. Sounds like I'm repeating Mark here, but a few of the production qualities, such as not varying the narrator, the music, it brings it down to about a B minus. So I agree with Mark.
All right.
You stole my thunder, Mark.
All right. Well,
oh, sorry, Jeff.
For myself, I mean, they got the facts. For me, I would have liked them to maybe take their, if they're going to go an hour, maybe take their time, break it up, break it up to, before he becomes emperor, and then after he becomes emperor, because there's a lot of meat on that bone. There's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
And you could have easily made it a two-parter without too much trouble. So for me, I would go as a study aid. It's great as a quick introduction to that time period. It's great. So I'd be right there, about B minus, B in there, because, like I said, some of the graphic art was kind of all right. I mean, I do get the idea. You're not going to put in stock footage because sometimes YouTube is YouTube. So you want it to be all original in all your stuff so that nobody can come and go, well, we're going to copyright claim this, and you go away. And then you have to fight, and it's a pain in the neck, and I get it. So yeah, I'd be right with you guys with a B minus.
We all agreed for once.
Wow.
Well, hell does freeze over once in a while. So
bound to happen, right?
With that, I'm gonna, before we get out of here, I'm gonna remind anybody that if you want to be on the live stream, do get in touch with Jeff. Jeff is taking applications. There may become there may be a little bit of an adjustment to how that's done, but that's okay. Also, if you have documentaries you'd like us to cover, just remember, I don't want a fresh up and start History Channel. I really don't want to do anything on their stuff. The guy that's in his basement and just figuring out how to do all the stuff like me. I don't want to sit here and go, well, his graphics suck and this, that, and the other thing. And it's like, he's doing the best he can. Go away.
Yeah.
So right. I try to keep it more of a, like your Discovery Channel, History Channel, which doesn't exist anymore. And, stuff like that. Timeline. I don't mind if they're on YouTube, just more. I'd like to keep it to more like the professional grade, because then if you criticize the professional grade, it's you're not jumping on somebody who's got 300 subscribers and the guy goes, oh, somebody did a video on my, oh no. So it's, I don't want to be that guy. But do shoot me, go ahead, throw it in the comments or drop Jeff a message or myself or Mark. It'd be really cool if you guys did this. And I mean, there is the History with R&R Discord that you can throw things in. I'm still a little not at the computer for the next week and a half, but that's okay. And I believe, Jeff, you have a show on Sundays. There's a rumor.
Yeah, some quiz show, I think.
Yeah. You
Question
might want
of
to plug
Trek.
that.
Yeah, so we have that on Sunday afternoons at 4:30 Eastern time. Quiz show on Star Trek. If you like Star Trek, if you like quiz shows, this is the show for you. Be there. We have guests that come on, so if you'd like to be a guest, get a hold of Continuum Trek. He runs the channel, and we'd love to see you on the show.
All right, and with that, folks, thank you.